Hey, it's Trevor. In this short video, I'll be walking through my CRD application, which I built for our class project. Of course, CRD stands for Create, Read, and Delete, and this app demonstrates those three core operations using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, as well as a mock API server provided by JSON server. But my project consists of three main files. We have the index HTML, which contains the basic structure for the app, the style CSS, which just a little bit of extra styling I did for the user interface, and then of course the script.js, which handles all the dynamic behavior and API integration. I also use Bootstrap to speed up UI development and keep things pretty clean and responsive. But the HTML defines a simple layout. There's a form to add an item, um, and a button to delete the last item on the list, and a list area that ultimately displays the items from the API. Then each item shows just the name of the item on the shopping list. So I kept the styling pretty minimal using Bootstrap classes and added just a padding to the body outside of the styled list items, just to keep things a little bit more clean and organized and spaced correctly. But really the real logic happens in the script.js file. I'm using the fetch API with async/await to perform HTTP requests to the local API. But let's start with the base URL that I defined at the top up here. This just points to the local JSON server endpoint where all that item data is stored. Now the core of the application starts with the getItems function. Of course, getting those and anything that is there is going to get shown, of course. Here, I make a GET request to the API using fetch with async and await for better readability, and then parse the response into JSON, which gives me an array of items that list.enter HTML. Now I clear out any existing items in the UI to prevent duplication. Then I loop through each item and create a new list element. So each list item shows the name and is given a data ID so we can reference it later if needed. Now the next is the add item function. Okay, obviously using async and await as well. This sends a post request to the API to add a new item with the name passed from the input form. After adding, I immediately call get items again to refresh the UI with the latest data. Now for deleting items, I wanted just to do this extremely simple, just removing the last item on the list. Pretty much it. It's just that the length of the list -1. But I fetch all items again, of course, to grab the last item in the array and then make a delete request using its ID. But again, right at the end, I do call the get items function again to update the UI after deletion. But the form handling submission is here. Of course, I prevent the default form behavior. I grab the value from the input, and if it's not empty, I pass it through add item, then reset the input field. Now I also added a button, well, handling, excuse me, for the delete button click there. And then finally, I call get items once the page loads. That makes sure that any existing items in the API are displayed right away when the user opens the page. So I chose this structure to keep the code simple, modular, excuse me, and readable. And of course, the use of async and await ensures smoother asynchronous handling. And by separating API interactions logic into individual function, the code is easier to maintain or expand. So, adding any update functionality later, all that kind of stuff. But I'll jump over to the app real quick just to see how it looks and performs. Okay. Okay, so for the app, I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Just a simple grocery list app. You can type here in the window, say we want to add apples. You can click add item to list. So I hit enter and dropped it down here. We'll do bananas, add them to list, milk, cookies, oh, bread, and let's say fish. If we want to delete this last item, which was fish at the bottom, click delete, it deletes. Same thing with bread, cookies, and milk. And respectively, here in my database JSON file, you can see everything being updated as well as I delete these items. Okay, thanks for watching.